You done now.
And he joins us right now here at the SummerSlam press junket. He is the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, the Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Brad. This is great. Great to be at SummerSlam this year, huh?
It's great to be at SummerSlam, and it's here in Tennessee, which is a place I know that you're very familiar with. We're just down the road from Memphis, aren't we?
You know what? Memphis, Tennessee was our territory many, many years ago, Memphis Championship Wrestling. But every Saturday morning, we do live TV in Memphis, and then every Saturday night, we'd come right up here to do our wrestling right here at the fairgrounds.
Right. I mean, Memphis, Tennessee, of course, legendary music town, too. And you're the music man, the Gentrys, right?
Back in the day, he was talking about my group, the Gentrys. We had a million-seller record back in 1965. I was so lucky. I got to cut over at Sun Studio. I got to meet Elvis Presley. I got to meet Jerry Lee Lewis. I got to meet, I can't say Johnny Cash. A lot of people say Jimmy Hart's lips are moving, he's lying, so I'm not going to tell a lie on that. But it was just a great era for us back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, working with all that talent, then going into the wrestling, and you've worked with every major name in the history of this industry. Now here we are at SummerSlam. What does it mean for SummerSlam to be here in Tennessee?
It is unbelievable. You know, we got music here. Music Row is wide open, tons of tourists in town, and it looks like SummerSlam is going to be bigger and better than ever.
Going back to the music thing for a second, because you also compose so many iconic themes in professional wrestling history, is there one that stands out for you as this is the one that I am the most proud of?
Well, the one that's got the most airplay is Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy. On Spotify, I just saw the other day, 10,200,000 plays on Spotify. But one of my favorites was the Rougeau Brothers. Remember, we don't like heavy metal, we don't like rock and roll. All we like to listen to is Barry Manilow. Hey, but I always like that one for some reason.
Well, now here you are, still with the company all these years later, being able to be a mouthpiece like you've always been. How is it for you working in this capacity now with the WWE?
Well, you know, I really love it because, I watch, of course, NXT on Tuesday night. I watch SmackDown on Fridays, and I watch Raw on Mondays, of course. So I'm able to watch all the talent as it kind of grows up and gets better and better and better year after year after year. And so, like I said, it's kind of like when we first started. We had territories back then. They don't have territories now, so it's hard for some of these younger talent to really get their kind of feet under them and really get out there. So I have a lot of time watching, a lot of fun watching them and everything. One of my favorites was always, I used to see her on NXT, was Bianca Belair. And I kept telling everybody, I'm going, this girl's going to be a star. She reminds me of Left Eye Lopez and TLC, but still, there's something about her. She was entertaining when she came out. And her interviews were great, too. And now she's a champ.
Look at that, and a TLC reference from Jimmy Hart, something I didn't expect at this very moment in time, I'll be honest with you. But when we look at the SummerSlam card, you talk about Bianca Belair. She's a mega talent. We all know that. There's so many other great, talented people on the card. But who is somebody that stands out to you? You've stood next to Hulk Hogan. You've stood next to the greatest names in the history of this industry. Who stands out to you on today's roster where you say, when 20 years from now, that's the guy or that's the girl they're talking about?
Well, you know what? I think everybody's great because if not, they wouldn't be in the WWE. But let me just tell you this. I think this Logan Paul kid has something special. He's got a big following, number one, but I like his interviews are good, and he's very theatric when he comes out. He talks with his hands, and he comes to the ring with enthusiasm and excitement. So I think he's going to be great for us.
I actually wholly agree with you on that one. Now, going back to SummerSlam, WWE, there's been some changes as of late everybody knows about. Now Triple H is going to be the creative vision for the company moving forward. How do you feel about Triple H and his capacity to do this job moving forward?
Well, he's pretty smart. I got to hand that to him because, look, he made a lot of money for himself, like some of his matches were classics back in the day. And, he ain't got a bad partner with him, too, with Stephanie. You know what? Stephanie, she's been around the business so many years, so, a lot of that's rubbed off on her. So I just think, I've always said, two sticks are harder to break than one. So I think both of them together is going to be tremendous.
I agree with you. Now, this question is going to be for selfish purposes. I've hosted a radio show with Booker T for the last 10 years, the Hall of Fame legend Booker T himself. Do you have a great Booker T story that I can embarrass him with?
You know what? I really don't, and I'll tell you why. Because Booker T was so important. At one time, Eric Bischoff, for about 6 months before we closed down, gave me the Saturday night show. Nobody wanted it. And I'd always go to Booker T and them and his partner, Stevie Ray, and I'd say, can y'all work on Saturday night? No matter how much they were on the road or anything, they never turned us down for that. So that Booker T and Stevie, I'll always be so grateful for that. Thank you so much. And we were doing great ratings. We were 2-1 ratings back then, 2-1, 2-3.
People would kill for that now.
Oh, my gosh, it's unbelievable. But because of them, and they were so important, they were so good. And I remember one time Huck told me, he goes, man, I like this Harlem Heat. These kids are good. And I think he went to Eric and told Eric, he said, Harlem Heat should be the next team you should push. And I agreed with him. I went, you're right on that, baby.
Now, our main event of SummerSlam is, of course, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, last man standing for the Universal Championship. Just your quick prediction on that one.
I think the key to that match is going to lie with Paul Heyman. Is Paul Heyman going to be true to Roman Reigns, or is he going to do the flippy and join back with his old guy, Brock Lesnar? So that's who I'm watching. I'm watching to see what Paul Heyman's going to do.
Well, we will find out. This is the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, the Hall of Famer, SummerSlam Sports Key to Wrestling. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.